Welcome to a pivotal chapter in Pakistan's constitutional and religious history, the 1974 National Assembly proceedings concerning the Ahmadiyya community. This was no ordinary parliamentary session. It was an in-camera inquiry that culminated in a constitutional amendment with profound and lasting implications for religious identity in the nation.
Indeed, the backdrop to these proceedings was intense, marked by significant political and public pressure following the Rabwah incident of May 1974. The formal inquiry began on 5 August 1974, when the Ahmadiyya delegation, led by Khalifatul Masih III, attended the in-camera session to respond to questions from the steering committee. Prior to the proceedings, the Ahmadiyya delegation submitted a mazharnama, or memorandum, which posed two fundamental questions to the members of the House. Is any assembly in the world, per se, entitled to deprive an individual of the basic right to exercise his free will to attribute himself to the religion of his choice? Or, is any assembly in the world, per se, entitled to decide, by way of interference in the domain of faith and religion, as to what it considers to be the religion of any community, sect, or individual? These questions highlight the core human rights issues that the Ahmadiyya delegation believed were at stake, noting that religion is a matter of heart and conscience, relying on the Declaration of Human Rights. The Attorney General purportedly pretended to be offended by this assertion.
The questioning was spearheaded by Mr. Yahya Bakhtiyar, the Attorney General of Pakistan, who began on August 5, 1974. His initial aim was to obtain a definition of a Muslim from the witness, but the sources suggest his strategy was to prove the parliament's right to decide on matters of faith. He reportedly employed convoluted arguments, often using extreme examples of fraud or willful impersonation, which were criticized as flawed and misleading tactics. He appeared to be playing out a script under the strict instructions of Mr. Bhutto and the mullahs.
The entire process was largely shrouded in secrecy. The proceedings were held in camera, meaning they were not open to the public or the press. Yahya Bakhtiyar later justified this by stating it was to avoid provocation of the masses. However, critics noted that this meant a decision of immense consequence was made without public scrutiny. The lack of a formal transcript and occasional requests for reporters to leave the room further contribute to the ambiguity surrounding the full record. During the cross-examination, Bakhtiyar's approach was described as highly strategic and at times aggressive. He appeared to be under constant reminder to not let the witness speak, not let him read from a written source, and only force a yes or no answer. He also questioned the Ahmadiyya leader on the life of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, the titles of Ahmadiyya caliphs, and the state's right to define Muslim for constitutional roles. Interestingly, while finality of prophethood was a central theme in the Attorney General's concluding speech and other speakers' remarks, no direct questions were raised on this subject during the cross-examination regarding the Ahmadiyya opinion on the Quranic verses. Instead, he pursued follow-up questions like, can more prophets come? Or, what is Ummati Nabi? Before these parliamentary sessions, the Samdani Commission was established to investigate the disturbances at the Rabwah railway station. However, its mandate quickly expanded beyond a law and order inquiry to include questions about the Ahmadiyya community's loyalty and their religious status. The full text of the Samdani Commission's 112-page report, submitted on August 20, 1974, has never been officially made public, remaining sealed.
Alleged findings from the Samdani Commission, widely cited, include the claim that Rabwah functioned as a state within a state. This narrative framed the Ahmadiyya community as a distinct political entity challenging national security, shifting the debate from religious freedom to national security. The Commission's known official recommendations included making Rabwah an open city and holding a parliamentary hearing on the Ahmadiyya community's status. The Ahmadiyya community viewed the inquiry as an aggression engineered by Prime Minister Bhutto to crush them.
Looking back 2 decades later, Yahya Bakhtiyar himself offered reflections on the proceedings in a 1994 interview. He stated that the proceedings were published, it would go against the Qadianis. He also issued a rhetorical challenge, saying, "Let them be published if the Qadianis want them to be," placing the onus of transparency on the community under scrutiny. Bakhtiyar also highlighted a surprising nuance, mentioning his very good relations with Sir Muhammad Zafrullah Khan, a prominent Ahmadiyya figure, and even that Sir Zafrullah had improved the language of the 1973 Constitution. This could be seen as an attempt to portray his role in 1974 as one of professional duty, distinct from personal bias.
The events of 1974, including the in-camera proceedings and the eventual Second Amendment, represent a complex interplay of legal, religious, and political forces in Pakistan. The differing narratives, the Ahmadiyya community's view of the inquiry as an aggression versus the official state rationale, continue to shape discussions on state authority, religious freedom, and majoritarian sentiment.
The official records, despite their omissions and challenges in verification, reveal a wealth of information about the mindsets, motives, and conduct of both sides. These documents provide invaluable, albeit sometimes incomplete, testimony from a defining period in Pakistan's history.
To truly understand this pivotal moment, it's crucial to examine all available evidence and interpretations. The full, unedited contents of the original records remain a vital yet elusive source for historical scholarship.
In our future episodes, we will delve deeper on these proceedings to discover more about this unprecedented and unique event in the history of modern parliaments.